Happy Monday Night Football Day to you.
Oh, you celebrate.
I celebrate.
Look what we got going on here.
When the Bucks are playing, man, you get vintage logo, you get helmets, man, you get a little CTE. Man, I love the Bucks. Bucks are playing the Chiefs tonight. The Bucks gave Detroit their only loss, and now are missing their two best wide receivers.
Who is their receivers?
Godwin and Evans. So,
okay, Mike Evans.
Yeah,
out.
Mike Edwins. Man.
Who's running the whole show there? Is it Baker?
Baker's killing it this year. I think I don't know if this is still a stat, but up until maybe this last weekend, I think he had the most touchdowns. He's like one of the top quarterbacks in the league right now.
It's insane because I kind of thought he was going to go the Johnny Manziel route, be in and then wash out. But he actually reinvented himself.
Yeah, the Rams got him for like 3 games 2 seasons ago, and then he did great there. The Bucks picked him up. He signed a 1-year deal with them, and then they just signed a big multi-year deal. The issue with the Bucks this year is not their offense at all. Their offense is scoring. Their offense is high-powered. Bake is doing all the right stuff. Bucky Irving is running like a freaking it's like a Devin A-Chain Mostert, Raheem Mostert over in Miami, where you've got Rashad White and Bucky Irving. They're killing it. Everyone's killing it. Everything is awesome. And then you have the defense. And man,
because they got rid of my boy, Devin White.
Where'd Devin White go? Did he go to Baltimore?
He actually just signed a deal. It's funny. I don't follow any NFL players except for Devin White because I was like, that dude's just a pit bull, man. Yeah. He's just like crazy.
Yeah, the defense just isn't, man, they're just letting too many people score. The secondary is getting killed.
So tonight you imagine Mahomes going over the top.
Yeah, and Mahomes, I think D-Hop he signed with them, but I don't know if he's starting today. He probably will. He's a little older, so he hasn't been there a while, so I hope
there's no chemistry.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't have the timing down and the routes and the this and the that.
I used to be super into the NFL. I was like your kids for a long time where I knew every player, every stat. I watched every game. I was crazy about it. And then as I got older, I just kind of stopped watching and stopped paying attention. So I have a very remedial knowledge of football. But I remember Julio Jones was the man. Yep. And then he started doing this thing just like D-Hop's doing where he's bouncing team to team to team. And he would go to these cool, good teams, and you're like, oh shit, they got the former best receiver in the league. This is going to be insane. And then he never did anything.
Yeah.
So I worry that's the same D-Hop.
It could be. I mean, you figure Amari Cooper just went to the Bills. D-Hop just went to the Chiefs. Devontae Adams just went to
same thing.
The Jets. Yeah. So you get a lot of these guys moving and going and doing, and it doesn't always work out, But then you have guys like Saquon. The Giants didn't re-sign him, and
Did you see that shit,
dude? Behind, turning backwards, jumping over people.
Again, I don't know much about football. I don't watch. I didn't know we were in week 8. I see this highlight, and I'm just like, this dude is just improving to the max. That was unbelievable what he does.
This dude's amazing. So Saquon's doing well, and then you have Baker doing. Actually, you wonder who's doing well is a lot of the old quarterbacks who are all washed up. Kirk Cousins went to the Falcons. He's doing really well down there. Baker's at the Bucks. Of course, he's doing really well there. You have Sam Darnold, who is...
He always had potential. He always had potential.
Yeah, but he was at the Jets, wasn't doing well. And he's only the starting quarterback because J.J. McCarthy, who was the first-round draft pick out of Michigan, tore his ACL or Achilles in preseason and is out for the whole season. I forget if it was ACL or Achilles. So they had to get somebody, and so you have Sam Darnold. Joe Flacco is
Mr. Reliable. That dude's crazy.
He's starting now for the Colts, and then you've got Jameis Winston.
I love Jameis too.
Who is now starting for the Browns. So you have all these former. You got Russell Wilson, who's back in Pittsburgh. I mean,
wait, did Deshaun Watson get benched or did he get hurt?
I don't know. He was out for a while. Then he played a couple of games, was not doing great. And then he's out again. But I don't know if it was an injury or if he was getting just because he sucked.
They need to start giving him happy endings again.
I know.
Because he had so much potential. You know what? Didn't Jameis have a rape charge too in college?
If he did, it was probably just because he couldn't see.
Yeah. Because they're like, wait till he gets. But that dude's got a cannon arm.
Have you watched his interviews or read stuff?
He's crazy.
He is the Yogi Berra of the NFL. He is just saying the most randomly weird shit, and you're like, that kind of makes sense, but man, is this dude batshit. He doesn't make a lick of sense. It is hilarious.
It's
He's
so funny.
all over.
But he can throw the ball.
He can throw
probably
the ball.
70, 80 yards in the air.
So we've got, by the time you guys see this, it'll be Tuesday. So you'll know if this worked out well for me, tonight. But tomorrow's the election, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Are you voting?
Dude, I cast my vote like 2 weeks ago.
And who'd you vote for?
You want to know who I voted for? I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Who do you think I voted for?
Kamala. Kamala. How you say?
So I took a cop out, you guys.
You bet an independent party, so you didn't have to be a part of either one.
I wrote in Enzo for president and Lennox for vice president.
Nice.
And here's my thought process on this. I'm going to get too political. You guys will flame me whichever way I side with anything. Everyone's crazy. But I really, and this is not a good excuse, but I can deal with either of them if they get in, but I can't be a part of either of them getting in. I really am not a big fan of a lot of the left agenda right now. I'm pretty open to whatever you want, do stuff, but I just, there's a, money involved in stuff like that. So I'm not big on that. And then Trump, I don't know if he's going to blow up our democracy. And I worry that if he gets in office, that he's never leaving. I feel like part of why he's back in this race isn't even for the country, but just so he can get out of the legal troubles that he's in. And so I just, who I love is JD Vance. We've seen him on all the podcasts. Theo Vaughn, he did a great podcast with Theo. He did a great one with Rogan. JD Vance, I think, is a really smart guy, very pragmatic, nice and normal. Man, I wish he was on the head of a ticket. I actually think he's going to be our next president. Whatever happens tomorrow, I think regardless, I think JD Vance is going to be the president in 4 years. I think he's just, unless somebody on the Democratic side just comes out just swinging, and we didn't really know, but JD Vance had the book out, had the movie out, Elegy of Hillbilly Elegy or whatever it is. So he was kind of famous for that, but I didn't know anything about him. And then I've been hearing him and seeing him talk, and he just seems, just as bright and sharp as a tack. I don't know anybody on the left side. Well, I don't really know a lot of, like I said, I didn't know him
a lot of lefties,
at the time.
We call them
the lefties, but maybe they have somebody who's just really sharp and really bright and comes on the scene like him, like he did on the Republican side. I think he'll probably be our next president. But yeah, I could handle whatever happened, but I didn't want to be a part of it. Which again is, and the reason why I did that is I wanted to see look, my vote, I am voting, but I would rather not vote for one of these people because I don't want to push either of them in either of their agendas.
And your vote carries a lot of weight.
My vote carries, it's all the weight.
It's like 80% you and then 20% the rest of the country.
Everyone else, exactly. So anyway, yeah. And then, mixed, I'm pretty middle of the road. I voted some Democrat local on the down ballot, some Republican on the down ballot. I don't just go party line on everything. Yeah. Are you going to vote? Did you vote?
No, I've never voted. I'm not even registered to vote. People are going to give us a lot of shit for what you did and for what I'm not doing. I just get so annoyed with the process. And I think that's wise because I just see people get so passionate about it.
But it really is such an easy process. You register at the DMV. You can get online. You do it all online. And then they'll mail you a ballot. You check off at home. You send it in. That is not a process.
That sounds like way too much for me.
Not a lot
to go
work.
Find it on the website. I'm not interested. I don't know. I just, people get so passionate about it. It's kind of like the COVID vaccine. Again, not to get political. I didn't get the COVID vaccine, and not because I'm like, the government's not going to tell me what to do. I just didn't want to be bothered with it. I was just like, I don't want to be told what to do, but I'm not taking a political stance here. I don't know. I don't know. People get so into it, and it kind of just turns me off and makes me feel nasty. People start arguing in the Facebook comments and going back and forth at each other. And
my sister came over the other day, and she's going hard in the paint, and I was like I'm not that passionate about this, and she's just going and going. I'm like, we could stop talking about this at any point because nobody's views are really going to be. When is the last time that somebody had a viewpoint? You argued with them and they changed their mind.
It almost never happens.
Yeah. I think people should vote, I think arguing politics and arguing religion and you're not going to change anybody's mind.
Well, our good old producer, Kamuela, it's so funny. I've learned how to argue with him, and the way to argue with him is you just let him think he won the argument. If you want to, he's very religious, just so you guys know. He's man of faith, man of Christ. And if you argue with him about the Bible, oh, he's got 95 bullet points. He'll go for hours. He is so ultra competitive, and that's the good trait about him, ultra competitive, but he will argue with you for hours and hours and hours. And then you could just be like, yeah, but this clearly shows right here. This is a fact that says this. What you just said is not true. You'd be like, yeah, but that's not really. Just keep going. So I'm like,
facts are just, who even listens to those? Speaking of Camuela, he's fighting LFA on Friday.
Yes,
We've got 5 people on the card. We have an amateur, I think, open up the card, and then we have 4 on the card. That'll be on UFC Fight Pass. And then, we were gone last week, put in picks. I was in Edmonton with Amir. That did not go well. Man, long layoff, a lot of stuff. I wish that had gone differently. Hats off to Brandon Moreno. Some people were like, first of all, some people are mean. Like, man, some people hate me. People have these fake accounts and they go on Instagram that are like not real accounts, and man, they flame me after every fight. But
like any fights that your guys lose.
Yep.
Wow, that's interesting.
Oh yeah, I have, and they follow me. I know where they're coming from, I think. You know what I mean? So
that's really interesting to me because you're one of the more low-key coaches. You're not like a Mark Montoya or like one of these guys that
they're local haters.
Okay.
Yeah. But some people are saying like, why wasn't he wrestling? Why this and this and that? And that was the game plan, was to wrestle. Things didn't, game plans are, it's like, all right, they're here and then they go out the window and this and that. I don't want to talk about too much. It's probably a little too close right now. Just stuff and whatever. But hats off to Brandon, man. And Amir is as tough as they come. He
that's all heart.
He didn't get finished. It was all heart. And he's just a really nice guy, really nice. He's just a solid human. Amir's he's just a good one. He's just one of the good ones. So, you want to talk Apex fights?
Yeah, back down to the Apex fights.
Man, let me just say actually one last thing. It snowed in Edmonton. Like, that place is cold and dreary. People are all really nice. Man, I would not want to. So I grew up in New York. It reminds me of the old Pennsylvania, New York, Rochester, Buffalo, like small town Pennsylvania, Rust Belt steel mill. It really, that whole area reminds me of that. And it was a nice city, and everything. Very, very nice. But man, it was cold and it freaking snowed. And that was too damn cold for me. I think it was like 28, 29 degrees. This shouldn't exist.
Well, here we are in Phoenix, Arizona. It's finally the time that we've been waiting for.
Yep. Time for me to put a Buck sweatshirt on.
Yeah, we go through all this shit for 4.5 months.
It was a long one this year. I think we broke records. I think it was like 100, 120, 150, like some insane days over 100 degrees. And then it was like a record over I think it was like 90 days over 115 or something like that in a row. It's like something insane. Like, I'm butchering the stats, but it was wild.
So we do go through that. One thing that's always drove me crazy. I'm born and raised here in Phoenix, Arizona. I love Phoenix. Like, this is my city. I love it so much. I can't stand people that are always like, man, I can't wait to get out of Phoenix. I can't wait to leave.
Oh,
People don't realize in most like big cities, you don't have hiking trails. We have a big city with anything you want to get into, you can get into. Weird stuff, normal stuff, drugs, health, anything you want to do, you can do. And it's a big city at the same time.
I love it.
It's amazing.
I love Phoenix. I always said I wanted to move away when I moved here. I wouldn't. It'd be hard for me to not call Phoenix home at this point.
We got everything.
Let's get into this week's fight. Who's the main event? We got Neil Magny. Does it list the? No, I was going to say the UFC fight night number, but it doesn't right here. I don't see it. But we have Neil Magny taking on Carlos Prates, whatever, Brazilian, who is on, like, he's on a tear. They love him.
I love him.
Everyone loves him. He was he was in Australia with us, and he was outside. I mentioned this, smoking all week, just outside in front, smoking cigarettes.
It's a pretty well-known thing because after his UFC debut, he was outside smoking. He had a big fake chain on, smoking cigarettes.
Gotta love him.
Which, you know what, is not unique to him. I got done sparring the other day and walked outside and saw the conglomerate outside smoking. I'm like, makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense. Who is Trayshawn Gore? Antonio Tricoli is the first fight of the night. Tell us your thoughts on that before we go to everything else. And we're solo here, so Camuela's not here. You guys don't get any of the graphics and the stuff and the different anythings. We got to do everything ourselves because he's fighting this week.
Well, we're docking his pay, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
Whatever
absolutely.
money he's making from the fight, he is not making from us. Should I pull up odds?
Oh, here, I'll tell the odds. You start talking. I'll pull up the odds on these two fine gentlemen really quickly.
I think Trayshawn's minus 190.
Yep, minus 190. Tricoli is plus 165.
I like Trayshawn here a lot. I don't think that Trocoli, I don't think he's UFC caliber whatsoever. Like, he's a grappler, kind of. He's not as dangerous on the feet as you kind of would expect by looking at him. Trayshawn definitely has his holes. He's very green, but he's taken a long time off since his last fight. And it was even a quick one. And then before that, he got knocked out, which kind of brutal to Cody Brundage. But he's taken a lot of time off, I think, to get better, to heal some injuries, which I think is good. And he moved to the MMA lab.
Did he? Trayshawn is?
Yep, he's at the lab now, which I think will give him increased cardio, increased strength endurance, muscular endurance. And he wasn't bad to begin with. Like, he's got really good reflexes. I think you've told me many a times that he's got really heavy hips, like hard to take down. So his grappling, I mean, he does a lot of things really, really well. He's got big, heavy hands. A lot of people expected him to beat Brian Battle in the Ultimate Fighter finale, whatever. He's awesome. He's good. I think he's getting an easy fight here against Trocoli. Trocoli looks a lot more scary than he is. He reminds me of Ribeiro. You text me in the locker room like, that dude is the scariest guy. And then he goes out and decisions him with like a jab around. It was hilarious. But yeah, give me Trayshawn all day.
I like Trayshawn here. I'm with you. His striking is clean. He doesn't do a lot, but everyone wants advanced this, that, switch. No, he just jabs and moves, does the right stuff, is in his stance, in his hips.
Pulls, and they're really nice.
I mean, he's not a crazy power world beater going to knock you out, but he does the right stuff. His wrestling is good heavy hips. He has decent jiu-jitsu. And like you said, Tricoli is not really a UFC guy. That's a guy who got in last minute, took a bunch of...
He just beat the shit out of Mackenzie's ex.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, it was. I'm surprised it's not a bigger news story, and I'm surprised he's fighting so quickly. But it just came out, and I had a little inside knowledge of all this. But he obviously doesn't like what's his name. Wesley is Mackenzie Dern's ex, and who they have the baby together, and he doesn't like him. And then the news story came out that he got arrested on a misdemeanor for beating the hell out of him. He's fighting business as usual.
There you go, just fighting. It's crazy to see Trayshawn Gores 4-2. He was 3-0 going in the UFC show, and has gone 2-1 since. No, he must have lost twice then. Who did he lose? Oh yeah, he lost to Battle, and then he lost to Brundage, so he's 1-2. But yeah, I just don't think Tricoli is on the level.
It's so funny because when he fought Brundage, I remember specifically where I was because that was the same night as my last amateur fight. So you and me were out in Tucson.
Oh, that's right.
And I was the main event of the fight card. So we had put on the fights while we were like waiting to warm up and stuff. And we're like, damn, Trayshawn's whooping Brundage ass. And then he gets hit with the one overhand and knocked out. We're like, oh shit.
Man.
Didn't see that coming.
All right. Next up, we've got Cortavius Romeus against Gaston Bolanos. Have you ever seen the Key and Peele skit about the NFL guys?
Yeah, the different names.
Cordavius Jr.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I was reading Cordavius and I thought of that. Man, let me see the odds here. Are Cordavius is minus 200. Gaston is plus 170. Gaston had a lot of hype behind him. And I don't really know why he was signed to begin with. And he's a good striker, but he's a striker, Muay Thai striker.
We talked about that, and Marcus McGee beat his ass.
And we both thought Marcus was going to win. We thought he was going to beat him up standing, and he did. Gaston is good. He's fine, but he just isn't necessarily an MMA guy. He is getting better and better. Like, every time we see him, he's getting better. His takedown defense is getting better. His jiu-jitsu is getting better. He's getting better. I just don't know why they rushed him. I think they signed him at 6-2. It just wasn't an impressive record. And I don't think it was a big or impressive enough Muay Thai kind of kickboxing background to pull him in. I don't know. It's just, they loved him. They brought him in. Marcus McGee, we knew that was going to happen. I don't know that that's going to happen here. On paper, you kind of look at Cordavius, same as Marcus McGee, just these kind of strikers, brawlers, athletic guys that aren't necessarily as technical, and maybe they mix and this and that. But I think Cordavius actually has a high ceiling. I just think he's too raw right now. He is actually super athletic. I really like his athleticism. He will stuff the hips and just end up on top because he's just super athletic. But when he throws really big. And when you look at Marcus was throwing fast, short hands. He was not overextending. He was boom, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 punches, but just shoe shining, almost like a boxer. And the thing that Marcus does really well that I think Gaston had a really hard time matching is his in and out rhythm. He couldn't figure out, is he fighting me or moving away, or is he feinting, or is he coming or going? And I think that rhythm, where a traditional guy, we talk about all the time, Muay Thai guys kind of stand there and they wait for, all right, you stand there, I stand there, we punch each other, we kick each other, we go. But in MMA, there's a big push and pull and trend, and you kind of go. And a lot of the guys, the traditional Muay Thai guys, don't beat much lower level strikers just because of the movement in the in and out. They're just not used to it. And so we saw that with Marcus. Cordavius doesn't do that. He stands and stands and stands, and he actually almost likes to counter. When he throws, everything is really big, but I think Gaston is going to be able to fill the space, and I think he's going to be able to use his kicks to, especially the teeps up the middle, and I think he's going to be able to find some really good stuff in there, because Cordavius throws too big and too wide versus, kind of the Marcus McGee, which is just so clean and energy efficient.
But then I guess the big question here, so yes, he broke down the striking, great. What about the grappling? Because I think that's what's implying Cordavius is the minus 200 price tag here.
I don't think Cordavius is as good of a grappler as McGee, and I don't think he has the jiu-jitsu that McGee has to control. I think he can athletically get the fight to the ground, and then I think Gaston will get back up and move. I think Marcus's wrestling is pretty good, and I think
Really
his
good,
jiu-jitsu is pretty good. So I don't think Cordavius is at the level right there. And I think that's one of those things. You have a contender guy coming up, and this is the test. Can he survive this? If he can, they'll give him the push. If not, they don't. But I think I actually like Gaston here, which I didn't think that I would before I watched tape.
I think I'm with you here also. One thing I didn't really like about Cordavius' game, first of all, he should have finished Imperito, whatever the guy's name was on Contender Series. I remember the time when that guy fought Ricky Bandejas on the local Canadian scene. They're like, someone messaged me, was like, dude, this guy's gassing out hard in the gym after 3 minutes. He's got 3 minutes to win this fight, and he is done. Bad cardio, bad wrestling, like just horrible striking. That guy was not good. Cordavius could not, made that fight way closer than it needed to be. I don't really like his grappling control, and it's kind of evidence. Yes, he's got a lot of finishes, but I kind of talked about this with Lupi too, Lupi Godinez.
Mm-hmm.
She had that armbar submission, but she jumped off of back control to do a belly down armbar, and I'm like, that's not going to work against everybody. As a matter of fact, that probably won't work against anybody from now
except
on.
for who it worked on.
Except for who it worked on. And Cordavius got a lot of those kind of belly down arm bars, weird stuff off his back, weird submissions like that. I think that's going to be tough to hit at a UFC level, obviously. And then, yeah, you're right. Standing. First of all, it's weird because he's small. He's really small. Is this at 45 or 35?
35.
Okay. Then he's going to be better sized here. He's just tiny guy, kind of a short, tiny guy. I think Gaston's going to pick him apart striking, like you said. Cordavius just really, really green. So that price tag is 100% indicated on the grappling. I think you could wait around and see how it's going, but the line might flip before you know it. So yeah, I like Gaston here. Probably by decision.
I could see a decision. I could also see a late round stoppage.
Yeah.
A late round elbow cut, something like that kind of gets him. All right, next up we have Melissa Dixon and Claudia Segula, who I don't know who either of these people are.
You know Mullins.
I know.
You do know Mullins.
I know.
You did not look at this one.
No.
Okay. Well, this is an interesting fight. Mullins is a minus 200. It's weird because the one girl is really, really young. What's her name?
Claudia Segula.
Segula. Okay. She's super young. I think she's only 23 or 24 years old. It looks like this is a short notice fight for her. She is interesting. The tape on her is weird because her last fight was 3-minute rounds. It was a custom rules bout. She's fine. She looks like she grapples occasionally. She looks really weak. That's one thing I noticed. So this fight is really weird for me because I think we're going to have kind of a lot of unknowns on this girl, especially how she performs right in the UFC, right at the UFC level. She's really just been fighting horrible, horrible girls. This is one of those, maybe she comes out and looks way better than her tape is and really puts on a good performance. I do think she's going to lose probably. And here's why. Mullins is very physical. She's filled out. She's very strong looking. She's a good grappler, good heavy top control. Like she does a lot of things well. She's not afraid to get hit. She'll step up in the pocket. She's got a good chin. Like she got hurt to her body last time and that's what dinged her. Yeah, I mean, the other girl doesn't look very physical. She's got a 22-year-old, 23-year-old's body. It's very like small and wormy. The only thing that I could see here is maybe she out hustles and outpaces Mullins on the feet. She's just stacking up the volume where Mullins is very slow. She's very slow, works her way in, throws big punches. So I could see her getting out volume, but I think this should be a Mullins fight here.
Okay. You heard it here first. Bet the house on Mullins.
Everything you got.
All right. Next up, we have Damone Blackshear minus 285 and Cody Stamen at plus 245. Those odds seem wide to me.
I agree with you.
Like that seems wide. Man, honestly, I think this is almost a pick'em to me.
How so? Where do you think that Cody has the edge here?
Here is my thought process. One, I've never been a huge Cody Stamen fan. Not like I dislike him or don't like him or don't even like his style, but just in terms of like winning, is everything's a decision. He will wrestle, but he doesn't have great control. He's not knocking people out. He's whatever. You want to know what he is volume. He has good volume. He has good cardio. And we saw they both fought Luan Lacerda or no, Luan.
Whatever happened to that guy?
Yeah, I don't know. Who is decent, but nothing crazy. But every time Luan would kick Stamen, man, he countered back and threw 4 or 5 punches back in a kick. It was really actually, I liked his pressure. I liked his volume. Even against Lapalus, and Lapalus kept landing that rear knee, man, just beautiful. Lapalus is striking.
He's so good.
Even in that Lapalus fight, Cody was swinging and going, and he got hit a lot. It never really seemed like he got hurt. Like he got beat up and battered, but he just kept going. And then at the end, he finally got that takedown, in the third round, just lifted him, threw him down. But the volume and the cardio and the wrestling of Cody Stamen, he checks all the boxes. The thing is why I think this is a wide line and everything is he's not going to gas out. We know that. And he's got the volume. And so now it's like, okay, is Damone going to knock him out? Well, Lapalus didn't knock him out. And I don't think in a stand-up battle, I think Damone is getting beat up by Lapalus. And then it's like, well, does he take him down and submit him? It's like, maybe, but
he definitely could. He's a very good jiu-jitsu guy.
He is. And that's the key is like, he took Batista down, and can he take him down, take his back and ride out the body triangle, do that? And the answer is yes. Does he submit him? And I'm like, I don't know. And then with the gas tank, now when he fought Mario, he fought a week earlier. And so then I think the gas tank, the adrenaline was probably not.
That's pretty insane for him. He's not a small 35er. For him to cut weight like that and then fight Mario, who's EPO'd out of his mind back-to-back weeks, that's insame. And to keep pace like that.
Here's the thing, and here's the why I kind of question just the odds, not even necessarily the fight, the odds. Both these guys are kind of in the same boat. Neither of them have beaten somebody who's really good. They do well against the lower guys, like Damone is 2-3-1. Montel Jackson just put him out fast. Mario, beat him in a third round decision. He beat Jose Johnson, who's fine, but just not anywhere near on the level. And Luan Lacerda, who we've seen is not. Then he lost to Farid, and then he had the draw with Yusuf. Going pre-UFC, he lost to Danny Sabatello, lost to Pat Sabatini, lost to Chris Montino, lost to Keith Richardson. So
wait, he lost to Chris Montino?
Yes, a decision in
Crazy.
CES. And that was 2018. Look, it was a long time ago. But he hasn't beaten the good guys.
He's fought a lot of good guys.
Yes, he really has. And they have Cody Stamann, who is kind of in that same boat but he's 7-6 in the UFC. He beat aged Eddie Wineland. He beat Luan Lacerda. He beat Brian Kelleher, Alejandro Perez, Brian Caraway.
His best wins are Duskanoy and Caraway.
Yeah, and then he's losing decisions to Jimmy Rivera, Mirab. He did get finished by said Nurmagomedov, and then he's going. So I just think it's kind of a crazy line that it's that wide, because I think Damone has got to take his back and ride out the piggyback route, or lose a volume kind of boring decision. I'm going to go with Damone here because I think we know his game plan, how to win. And Cody, I just don't know how Cody's really going to win besides volume and mixing. But man, I'm not super confident of it, and I think the line is wide here.
I kind of thought the same thing, because I could see a world where Stamann gets a lot of takedowns and rides out top control, and Damone's throwing up submissions. I was just looking at Cody, if he'd been submitted, because I was thinking, man, he's so easy to submit. Because I remember being in attendance at the fight when he fought Saeed, and Saeed just put him out in like 30 seconds, whatever crazy it was.
It was insane.
But Saeed does that to so many people.
Everybody, yeah, he's just that
okay,
good.
Wait, we also need to talk about Jourdain. Jesus Christ. I'm thinking to myself, dude, Victor Henry is like a really, really good black belt. There's no way Jourdain is finishing him. He's so game. And he hits that freaking guillotine every time.
Man, I threw that up. I forgot it originally on the Patreon. I posted it. Oh, I forgot Jourdain, you guys. Because I actually like that. Because at 35, first of all, he's huge. And Victor is not that big of a guy. And if you look at the guys Jourdain is fighting at 45 and not getting finished and doing well. And don't get me wrong, he has been finished, but he has fought some really good guys. And then he just swings and he's clean. And I think 35 is going to be a good spot for Jourdain.
Yeah. But his guillotines are insane. And the same with Saeed. So you're right. I think Damone, his jiu-jitsu positioning is really good. It's better than his submissions are.
Yep.
He's very good at sweeps, coming up on top, wrestling up. I mean, having a close fight with Zalal, and we see how good Zalal's. I mean, Zalal looks impressive right now. Damone is very, very good. I think Damone is probably going to win a decision here because he's got really good punching at range. He is clean. He's good, especially he fights that kind of lower tempo. I think I like Damone to just edge it out. I think he can counter grapple enough. Even if he gets taken down, I think he will wrestle up or find a way to come onto the back. But you're right, probably a wide line. I think the best thing here goes to decision. I don't see either one of them finishing each other.
Yeah, I can see that. Yep, I like it. Next up, who do we have? We've got Buffalo Chuck, Charles Radke, and
Chuck Buffalo. Watch out.
Whatever, Potato, and Matthew Summelsberger. Oh, Radke's minus 155. Sam is plus 135.
I think that's a great line on Radke, and it's going to depend on how Radke fights, but I think Radke's really, really good. I'm giving up big props today. It's hard. You and me, we're very jiu-jitsu snobs for most people, and I think 4 or 5 times now we just said, man, this person has really good jiu-jitsu. All
right, I'll switch it back.
Tell it. No, I'm just kidding. Radke's jiu-jitsu is nice. It's super nice. I think he's legitimately a phenomenal black belt. This fight could be so easy for him. It could be so easy for him. He takes Summelsberger down, top controls him time and time and time again. I mean, how many times have we been in that frustrating thing with Summelsberger? Like, dude, just stand up. Dude, just stand up. And his corner's freaking out, yelling at him. Like, we've been there so many times. I think Radke is really clean on the feet. That dude's game. He's ready to fight. I mean, he lost to Prates, which, it happens to the best of them. I think he's much better grappler here. The thing with Summelsberger, I've always thought is like he has power, but he's so wide with everything. Everything is like loopy and wide and just like slightly off. Where I think Radke's very clean, very precise, very good black belt. If he would just wrestle, and that's the biggest thing is I think sometimes his ego takes over, and now we're in firefights instead of just making it so much easier. That's probably the one part that's missing. His striking is really good and his jiu-jitsu is really good, but his actual transitional wrestling is a little bit lacking. So I mean, it's a close enough line where I still think Radke deserves to be the favorite. I think that's definitely a play there. But I would like to see him take the path of least resistance, which he doesn't do.
Yeah, see, I think he should be the favorite because, well, both of these guys aren't great winners. Like, they're very good, but they just don't know. Like, Summelsberger, man, that's a guy who's just so talented and will just lay on his back or jump to something or just kind of like you just you don't know what version of him. Some of these men, he comes in as a guy that beat who's a kid from Australia, Matthew.
Jake Matthews.
Jake Matthews just looks amazing there, and then just putting people dead, and then just hanging out in the clinch, and I don't even know. But then I think of Radke as the same thing. As I think he has that style of striking that I hate. And not that he's a bad striker at all, but he does all the stuff and feints and moves and does the
but never throws.
TJ, and I'll switch stance and I'll go because he's trying to get people to pull the trigger and go and do it, and then he finds his counter and yada yada yada. And then Sam, I mean, you said he was wide, but I actually like his jab. Sam will just be there calm and boom and just throw and just be there and go. And then he'll firefight or he'll pop shot on the outside. He'll go first, and he's not afraid to go first, and he's not afraid to jab. He doesn't kick a lot except when people switch southpaw. We saw this with Preston Parsons a lot. He didn't kick. Every time Preston Parsons switched southpaw, bam, he threw that low kick, got him off balance. And Radke's there in the face, waiting and waiting. And I think he's just going to get jabbed and jabbed and jabbed. And so then is Radke going to come out and wrestle right off the bat?
Probably not. He's been on this whole thing where he wants to strike.
That's it. And so if he's not going to wrestle right off the bat, then I think that he's going to get outstruck. And then now he's going to be wrestling like defensively or a little bit behind or just not on his terms. And Semmelsberger, as weird as he is, like Parsons is trying to take him down. Couldn't. He defended. And then all of a sudden Semmelsberger gets a body lock takedown in him. And so he can actually wrestle and he can't do a lot of the stuff. And then he'll play on his back for a while and then finally decide to get back up. I think this is a lot of these fights are very close on this card.
Yeah, there's another one that's like even line.
Yeah, there's I think Radke is the cleaner, better technician, and I think Semmelsberger is going to win this. And I look at Radke very similar to Parsons. Like you look at their striking, to me, they're very similar in they're trying to get people to throw stuff at them with their stances and their feints and their level changes. But I think it's a lot more smoke than substance. And then I think Parsons is the better wrestler, but Radke has a better jiu-jitsu. And man, he broke Sem with the wrestling, and I think that was a very close fight as well. I don't know that Radke has the same wrestling prowess that's going to chain.
Or game plan.
Yes, or game plan. Without that heavy wrestling game plan early, I don't know that Sem is going to fade out as much. I don't know that the takedowns will be there as much. I like Sem here for the slight dog upset.
Oh, okay. You're actually convincing me. Maybe I'm not going to play Radke.
And both these guys are man, these are not high-level fighters. And I don't mean that high-level fighters. These guys are both guys who are very good, but don't always win. They can find a way to lose, even in these things where you're like, man, this guy, like, who would have thought that Semmelsberger is going to hurt Jake Matthews like that so many times, time and time again? I mean, just all of his fights. And then you see some of them, you're like, wow, you never know what's going to happen with a Sem fight. So let's see. Next up, we've got Dusko Todorovic and Mansour Abdul Malik, who is spent a lot of time with us, and we know Mansour well. Little backstory on Mansour is he was a really high prospect out of high school. So he went to Wyoming Seminary High School, which is one of the top wrestling high schools in the country. I mean, it really is one of the better ones. Private school in Pennsylvania. He was a Maryland state champion. Did not do well at the university level. Was very mediocre because, and one of the reasons for that is he should have been wrestling 89 or 97 and they had him wrestling heavyweight, and he never should have been wrestling heavyweight. He's just, I mean, you see him, like that's not a heavyweight frame.
He's an athletic guy.
He's an athletic guy. Yeah. It's not like he's a fat, heavy guy. He's an athletic 220 pounder who should have been cutting to 197. And even then it was smaller than that. And then Dusko on the other side is like me if I was from Europe. He's just like a kind of a slow European white guy. Like
chin up, hands down, all the stuff you like to see.
I mean, he does not want to throw with Mansour. so he's going to wrestle Mansour. But I don't know that he's going to have success there early. I think Mansour's round 1 and 2 wrestling is just going to be solid. He's going to be a hard person to handle. And then I think if he doesn't finish Dusko, then I think Dusko in the third will need a finish because he'll be down 2. And I don't know that that's going to happen. I like Mansour here. I like him by finish. I think it's probably going to be a under 7-minute fight.
Yeah, I really wanted to make a case for Dusko because Dusko, in my mind, is some cardio freak with really good grappling, and he's decent. He does get positioning things really well, and it's a war of attrition with him. People will swing on him with all they have, get super tired, and then he's like, all right, now I'm going to put the volume, like the little pity-pat boxing, and then I'll start taking you down and then beating you up. That could happen here. I think Mansour could come out and blow his wad and try to murder Dusko, and if Dusko doesn't die, things might get interesting. And it's just crazy that, I went back and watched the Wes Schultz fight with Mansour on Contender Series. I think very low of Wes. I don't think he's a good fighter at all. He's got horrible cardio. Like, for all the wrestling accolades they say that he has, his wrestling is not very good at all. Pulling guard, doing all this stuff. And he took down Mansour in the second round, like was actually like winning a lot of positions on him. And, what's funny is like I watched Wes, and then he did this thing where he just kind of like came out and just charged Mansour and just started throwing little pity pat punches to the body, to the head. And then
just
I watched
in his face, 0 fucks.
Yeah. And then I watched Dusko. Dusko did the exact same thing to Jordan Wright at the start of round 2, the exact same thing. But Dusko, I think, is a much better wrestler and especially a jiu-jitsu guy than Wes Schultz is.
Yes.
And much better cardio. I mean, that's the only thing you could probably give to Dusko in this fight. But then I watched Jordan Wright taking him down and controlling him. And I'm thinking, man, Mansour is a different beast.
When Mansour's on top, his ground and pound is violent.
Yeah, I think he's going to knock out Dusko. Unfortunately, I really, I'm like, man, Dusko is a juicy dog. Like, he's going to stick around and he'll come on late when Mansour gasses. But it's hard for me to see it. Mansour is just so much better athletically. He's going to get on top of him. He's going to elbow him. Even standing, he just hits so much harder. And Dusko's chin is always a liability. And then you have the knee injury coming off that. Like, we don't know what Dusko's going to look like. This is the UFC saying, Mansour, we're ready for you to be the star. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think they want a new star. And I think they're hoping that he is a guy that they can.
They like those Vegas locals, too.
Do.
When they can pal around with them.
All right. Nicholas Dalby, Elizu Zaleski dos Santos is -102, and Nicholas Dalby is -118.
This is like a crazy hard fight to call for me.
Why?
You don't think so?
Yeah, I have my opinions.
I think Zaleski's probably going to win this. But it's really hard. Both of them have done so well when they're counting on the other person to grapple, and they just counter grapple.
Yes.
But now neither of them are going to grapple. Honestly, if anyone grapples, it's probably Dalby.
I think they both will. I mean, we saw in Zaleski's last fight, he was shooting, and we'll see Dalby shoot as well. I don't know if we'll see it here, but it's happened in the past.
Yeah, they do it because they'll defend a million takedowns. The other guy gets a little tired, and they're like, all right, it's my turn to do this. But I think both of them want to strike always. And Dalby is so much better than I ever gave him credit for. Like, geez, that guy is really good. He does the crazy breathing, but he defends takedowns well. He stands up well. And then the way he was throwing in the firefights with Bonfim was crazy. He was just so down to throw. I think Zaleski's a much more patient striker, longer striker. And he's very, very clean. A little different style, a little unique. But I think all the things that Dalby capitalizes on, he's not going to be able to really do that here because of the style of fight. I think I do like Zaleski, but I'm probably going to pass because this is just a very close fight for me. Yeah,
it is a close fight. And you said it, they both expect everyone to grapple them, and then they counter the situation, and they don't need that here. The thing with Zaleski that I actually really like is his footwork. And you don't see it with a lot of traditional Muay Thai guys. He is always, when he's like just doing nothing, he's angling left, angling right. His footwork is really good. And he takes these small steps correctly that he's not taking these big angles. He's stepping correctly to create the angles in his natural movement versus trying to like do a movement to create the angles. Just his natural rhythm in movement, which I love, and you don't see that a lot in MMA. But the thing with Zaleski is he is a counter puncher, and he kind of waits. And it's the same thing I'm saying about Radke is he's there waiting for people to do stuff so he can swing. Dalby is active and his volume is always there. And the thing that I've said it before about Dalby is he has this like jumping in and out style. And you're like, oh, he punches in front of the face. He's almost like hitting your hands. And he's like it looks like he's shadow boxing. It looks like bad if you were untrained. You'd go, oh, he's not even hitting him. He's like just putting stuff out there. And he like jabs and jabs and jabs. And then he steps in with a big jab. And you see him touching in front of you and you're like, okay, I'm good. Boom. And then something comes in. And then he throws that jab and then the left kick. And he hides stuff really well. And he hides stuff with his movement. And he hides stuff with the rhythm and the speed changes and the distance changes of his punches. He'll touch and reach, not try to actually land, or he'll just shadow box the air. And then he hits a change up and gets a rhythm and a distance change. And both these guys have good chins. They're both really good strikers. They're both really good everything at this point, which is funny to say. You have a 37-year-old in Zaleski fighting a 39-year-old in Dalby. And, for before Dalby's run, we were so critical of him. Watch Dalby just like be off
he gets
the breathing.
One punch KO, yeah.
And he's just like dead tired now and gasses. But he really does a lot of stuff well. He's hard to finish. If Bonfim's not finishing you round one, it's going to be hard to take him down and finish him.
Yeah.
And he's getting hit with punches and wears them well. I think this is a close fight, but I like Dalby because I like his volume. I like
he fills that space.
He fills the space. I like the volume. He does more. Whereas Zaleski is looking for the big power punches, and he's not really like killing people unless they're dead tired. And it's generally, like you said, it's the sprawl and brawl and then beat them up
he's still going to splits.
Yeah. And beat these wrestlers up once they can't shoot in anymore and he's out striking them. I don't know that he does that with Dalby. So I like Dalby here with
I'm changing my pick. I'm gonna go Dalby too. So you convince me.
I'm on a roll. I'm convincing people. You guys, I'm gonna convince you who to vote for next.
Enzo.
I'll do it. Enzo DeFranco. All right, Luana Pinheiro and Jillian Robertson. Pinheiro is plus 285. Robertson is minus 350. What's the over-under of me watching tape on this?
Over. Luana got nice feet, so of course you're watching her.
Oh, I'm watching all of them feet. No, I actually did watch this. And I watched it because I like Jillian Robertson.
She's fun to watch.
I like watching her fight. I enjoy it. I love, she doesn't always win, but I like watching her. I like her style.
She has been lately.
No, she has. So I like it. Man, Luana, the thing that's most striking to me with her, a few things. One, she is fast. She's actually fast on her feet. She moves well. She's not a great striker, but man, she's like a little pinball, like bing, 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 bing. She's kind of all over the place. She's actually really athletic. She doesn't have a lot of power. She's not physically strong, but she is fast. And
you don't think so? That looks to me like her only part of her game is that she's fast and really strong and explosive.
See, to me, it doesn't look it. Watching her shoot on Angie and Angie just shucking her off and throwing her around. Like Angie just had a field day with her on a physical level. And then maybe she's strong compared to some. Did you just peel a nail off and throw it on my
I'll vacuum. I'll vacuum.
What's wrong with you, you
I'll
sick
get it.
bastard?
I'll get it.
That's disgusting. But Jillian looks physical to me. Like she looks strong as shit. So like I think on a strength level, I don't think she can match Jillian at all. And then she's a jiu-jitsu girl that wants to play jiu-jitsu. I don't know that she can get the fight to the ground with Jillian. I think she'll end up shooting and pulling guard type of stuff or like not getting
she's
what
actually
she wants.
a judoka.
I don't give a shit what she is. I don't think she's winning that grappling, the takedown game, top positional game with Jillian.
Well, that's what I was trying to say is that she's not even a jiu-jitsu girl. She's a judoka. So
okay,
it's
is
like
that
a couple
her grappling
throws.
background?
Yeah.
So, man, I like Jillian to find her way on top and elbow Luana's soul right out of her body. And and really put a beating on her. I like Jillian here.
The other issue too is that Luana slows down so much. I was really trying to find a way, because one of these days someone's going to get a hold of Jillian and they're going to win. Like they're going to make her pay, because her striking still isn't very good. But man, she's like the Fluffy Hernandez of the women.
Yeah, she is. That's a good fucking analogy.
Yeah, because she just leeches onto you.
Yeah.
And she'll run the single leg, misses a single, redirect to double. That misses. Then she goes to your back. Then she lifts. Then she goes back to the single leg. She just is a dog on a bone. And then once she gets on top, her jiu-jitsu it's incredible. It's so
and her ground and pound is good. Her elbows, her control. She's mean. She doesn't chase submissions. She beats you until you give her the submission.
You know, what I think is a really bad conundrum for Luana is that I do think her striking is fine. Like it's good.
It's fine.
It's explosive. Yep. It's very explosive, but she's a woman, so she doesn't have a ton of power. So the main part of her game is like judo throws, getting on top and winning that way. But that's what gets her so tired. So you have no cardio, especially grappling cardio, but your only way to win is grappling. Makes for a very tough day at the office.
Yeah.
And now you're going to go against a girl that's going to grapple nonstop. You know, her boyfriend, Nicolau, just got cut.
Okay.
I think, unfortunately, she's probably going to get cut after this, too.
I like Jillian inside the distance. I don't know if I would choose a sub or a TKO prop.
She's a coin flip at this point.
Yeah, because I could see her like just beating somebody and then stopping it, or I could see her beating them and then taking the submission. So.
I think Luana's probably going to turn her back after she gets punched a lot, and I think Jill's going to lock up a submission.
Okay. I like inside the distance. If you want to play it a little bit more riskier, but very doable by sub.
One thing I really admire about Jill's game too is that she's one of the few, we kind of talked about this with a few people, but not a lot of people. She can go for an armbar, like swing off and go for an armbar from back control. And it's okay for her because she knows she can work her way back to the top.
Yeah, she
can take more risks.
Does a really good job of wrestling up half guard into a single leg and then finding top control. Damone Blackshear kind of does that.
Yeah.
Very, very similar style. I think she's actually better at it than he is. Maybe not even on a technical level, but against the women, she does it better than Damone does it against the men.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Next up, we've got Rainier de Ritter and Gerald Meerschaert. De Ritter is minus 285 and Meerschaert is plus 245.
He's only minus 285?
Yeah.
I saw like minus 400 today. Maybe I'm tripping.
Jazz has it minus 300. Bet US has minus 300.
Okay, I see minus 285. Interesting.
So I don't think Ritter is very good. Like I'm not impressed with him at all. And he gasses. His takedowns are not great. I mean, Gerald can grapple and Gerald can wrestle, but you see him in MMA, like shooting. I know he's a judo guy or what, whatever the hell he is, jiu-jitsu guy. I know he's had a lot of international success. His striking is fast. I actually like that. You look at him right off the bat, man, he's got some crisp 1-2s. He's fast. And then that fades out pretty quickly once he starts grappling. And he looks the part of a decent striker until you get in the mix a little bit. And then he's like, nah, I'm just playing, guys. Like we just talking. His takedowns are not amazing to me. And his cardio kind of sucks. Like I don't really think it's amazing. And then you have Gerald, who is so fucking slow and looks like Aaron Rodgers out there on the field right now. He's just like clunking around like, oh boy, I hope they don't tackle me. And his striking is labored, but he's got cardio, and I don't think De Ritter is going to take him down and submit him right in round one. I don't think he's going to submit him round one. Like, give me Gerald for the freaking huge upset.
Is it a huge upset with Gerald anymore?
No, but the odds reflect a huge upset.
I just think it's crazy that Gerald keeps winning because you're giving him way too much credit for his takedown defense. That dude falls over with a slight breeze.
But I don't think De Ritter has some amazing takedowns, and then De Ritter gets tired if there's a little, like when we saw with shit, you know who I'm talking about. I know. Whatever, somebody Lang he is great when he can backpack you and just control you, and like it's his ride. when people are fighting him and giving him some grappling, like fight back, he fades out and is not like some amazing grappling, cardio, wrestling guy. I mean, like, dude, I think round 1, I think he's probably going to take Gerald down and get on top. But his ground and pound is not amazing. He goes pure jiu-jitsu on it. And then and now all of a sudden you're going, all right, you're up 1 round to Gerald Mearshart. I expect that to happen. And then Gerald's like, all right, I guess we're fighting now because it's round 7. And he's just like, well, I'm still here and they're tired. And now I'm going to go put it on them. And so at the price, if this was even odds, I don't even know. If Gerald was a favorite here, I wouldn't touch him. But Gerald at a dog against a guy who's not going to knock him out, who gets tired as the guy, I don't think he's going to be able to knock Gerald out. And he may get more tired than Gerald at plus
I'm gonna fight you
plus
tooth and nail on this
245 on this.
No,
I don't think it's a bad one.
I'm gonna fight you tooth and nail on this because you're acting like Gerald's got the greatest cardio of all time. Is not true.
No, he doesn't. He fades, but he keep
fades
trying
bad.
to win. I know it doesn't make sense.
I was
to me.
cracking up because his last fight against Edmund. Listen, Gerald, I can't believe he has any wins in the UFC, and he always finds a way. It's incredible to me because he is slow. He's not a good boxer. He's not a good kicker. No takedown defense. His jiu-jitsu is okay. It's not amazing.
He's got a good left middle kick. He's a
Okay,
southpaw.
right.
It's not going to help him well here because Ritter's the southpaw as well.
Yeah.
Man.
He's just slow and clunky.
He's fucking slow.
And what's hilarious is okay, I was rewatching the Edmund fight, and he comes out, and he's slow, extremely slow.
Do you think he's fast, or do you think he's not fast?
and then he gets tired, and he's already slower than slow can be.
I know.
I think the Ritter's going to get on top and submit him. I
think so?
There's no coincidence. They're not giving him an amazing striker with great takedown defense. They're giving him a guy who's willing to grapple. He's going to try to wrap.
Why did they sign this guy? What is the upside here? I don't get it.
Because he was a double champ and won.
It doesn't matter. He's not very good. He's not super marketable. He's not like some exciting guy, and I don't think he's going to do well in the UFC. I don't think his striking, his cardio, and his wrestling are good enough to beat the top guys. He might get past Gerald here, and I know that that's what they're doing. They take these guys from ONE and these other shows to come in. They want to build them. That's why they're signing him. I get it. He's the A side. I get everything about it.
It's not happening this time. Listen, Gerald snuck out last time, and he got it.
I know. Look, I know De Ritter's the A side. I know why he is the multiple that he is. It just, man.
He's going to submit him.
You think he's going to submit him?
There's a difference.
Oh, my gosh.
Some dude from Milwaukee submitting a bunch of freaking Armenian kids that are on death's door, cardio death, versus a guy who went to a draw, kind of whooped Galval's ass in grappling. A guy who's submitting a ton of guys. I would get tired too if I'm trying to take down a bunch of Russians that have been wrestling their entire lives. That's tough. It wears on you. He's been fighting high-level guys.
He has. I get it.
And he finds a way to win.
I get it. I just watch him. He's one of those guys that we've talked about all the time. There's so many guys who are not good, but they find a way to win. And that's him. Is I don't think he's great. I think he finds. I think he's very good at jiu-jitsu. I don't think he's a great MMA guy.
And that's fine. But he's actually kind of to me like Tai Ruotolo is now. Tai Ruotolo is very green on the feet, but he just scrambles and he's wiry and he'll sneak to the back and then use jiu-jitsu.
I'll give you that.
This is our Super Bowl of the week.
This is it.
Freaking Gerald Mearshart. Gerald Mearshart has cost me so much money.
Oh, I'm always on the other side of him. I'm always now. Of course, I flip this time, and he's going to get murdered. He's going to look silly. But all right. Next up, we've got Ricky Turcios, Bernardo Sopai. Turcios plus 230. Sopai is minus 270. Sopai's good. He does. He can wrestle. He can strike. He's powerful. He hits really hard. He does a lot of stuff. What's my issue with him?
His cardio.
Yes. Is his cardio. And so I went back. Who did he just fight?
Loke Dog. Oliveira.
And he looked great, and then he faded out. And I was like, well, was that octagon jitters? This and they were talking. Sometimes I listen to the commentary, and sometimes I don't. It just depends on the mood I'm in. I was listening to the commentary on that, and they're like, octagon jitters, octagon jitters, octagon jitters. So I went back and looked at his split decision loss pre-UFC. Same thing. I mean,
Slow
just
down.
fades out really bad. And then he just kind of stops. And with Tercios, you cannot stop with him because that dude won't die. I went back actually and watched a couple Tercios fights, one of which was Kevin Natividad. And that was Natividad's first fight camp with us. He fought Tercios. I wish we got some of these guys before it was their last option.
Yeah.
Like we got Kevin, it was last fight on his contract. We got Dana, it was the last fight on his contract. These guys had really good improvement, but it was just not, we needed another fight with them before they showed the improvement that they did. But Kevin fought so well in that fight, man. He was just death gassing at death's door on the third round. He still fought through it and did well. But
he looked great in that fight, and that was a complete toss-up.
I actually talked to him about that today, and I was like, man, I said that was so frustrating. Not because you fought poorly or anything, but there's little things that he purple belt jiu-jitsu'd it. It was a couple times he would end up on top, and then Tercios is going X guard or elevating a butterfly hook, and Kevin's trying to step over and go.
He's so gangster for that.
Instead of just flattening him out, doing less, settling the position, he would do more. And he just over grappled. And I said, man, if you didn't give your back up in the last minute, 2 minutes of that fight, I said, I think you won that. And I was like, yeah, I don't remember this and that. And he was like, I was just death gassed. He's like, I was so gassed. It was all I could do to not just quit right then and there because I was so tired. So anyway, Tercios's grappling is fun.
It's amazing.
It's fun. He loves the chaos. His striking is not good. It reminds me of Victor Altamirano. Like,
okay.
Right? Like It's awkward and weird, and he does all the wrong, quote unquote, wrong stuff, but he's there and he just does stuff and it just works for him, and
always throwing
and just, man, but he gets hit and he goes and whatever. So to me, there's a couple ways on this. I really worry about Sopai's cardio. So I think who I think wins, I'll kind of get to in a second, but I think Sopai KO is a solid bet because Tercios can get hurt. He absolutely can get hurt. And Sopai is very good with that. But then if it goes past, and we saw the switch, middle of round 2 is Sopai's last fight. He looked great, took him down. He's this, boom, everything. Oliveira got out, and then it was over. That was it. So then you go Tercios decision if it doesn't work out that way. I like Sopai for the win, marginally, barely. I think that his wrestling and grappling, I think he'll do. I don't think he's going to engage in the chaos if he ends up on top. I think he'll try to slow it down or bail and get back standing instead of try to re-grapple the grappler of Tercios. I slightly like Sopai. His fucking cardio scares me.
I think that's going to be the biggest thing in this because Tercios is a guy that fills every space. You take him down, he's elbowing, he's touching as much as he possibly can. I will say this. I think Tercios is probably the best scrambler in the UFC.
He might be.
He really is. Legitimately, no one does this like he does. He goes deep half guard.
X guard, butterfly hook into X guard
the time.
In MMA. He went, all right, sorry to interrupt, but I meant he did gi stuff in an MMA. He elevated, went X guard, came out the back, had 2 hit hooks on the back, and pulled Kevin's hips and kicked him out in MMA.
It's unbelievable.
That is a gi jiu-jitsu thing, and he's doing an MMA while getting punched. Holy shit.
He's an incredible scrambler. That's the thing is he elevates. And one thing I worry with Sopaj is sometimes when he gets uncomfortable, then he shoots. We saw that in the Loke Dog fight in the very first round. And Tercios is going to be pressing him the whole time, right? That's Tercios' whole thing is I'm pressing you, throwing a million punches. Even if they land, don't land. And then he's going to shoot. And now he's in Tercios' world, who's going to elevate, who's going to lift, who's going to re-wrestle, who's going to be on him like a dog on a bone. And you have a big cardio discrepancy. I mean, Tercios can do that for 10 rounds. Again, he just never stops. Tercios' wrestling isn't good, but is it good against a guy who's extremely tired?
Yes.
I think the line is extremely wide. I think Tercios is a really, really good play here.
I think he's a solid dog. You're absolutely right.
He's a dog for real.
He is. the difference zone, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just talking. With Oliveira, he was very nervous and shot because he couldn't find the range and the rhythm.
And that dude's very intimidating.
He's very intimidating, and he throws the kicks, and it's very scary. Tercios has that high guard, and I think Sopai is actually going to land his shots as Tercios is pressing him. So I don't think he's going to be panicked. I don't think the pressure is going to panic him to shoot the same way that it did with Oliveira, because I think he's going to be landing the punches. So I think if he shoots, it's going to be if he wants to shoot or not. That's just my thought on that point right there.
Yeah. This is a very close competitive fight. So when
who are you picking?
I'm picking Tercios.
Okay, as a dog.
Yeah,
it's not a bad one, you guys. In the line at plus 230. All right, let's go back a fight. I'm saying Gerald Meerschaert is a good dog at those odds with blah 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 blah. Tercios at plus money like that is a solid
just when there's a big cardio discrepancy.
Yep, that is it. Now he might get knocked out in round 1. Mana Martinez knocked him out pre-UFC in round 1. I mean, it can happen. Kevin Natividad put him down a couple times, wobbled him, hurt him. So he is chinny, and Sopai hits hard. I still am going to stick with Sopai. I think
he's got to sprawl and brawl the whole time.
Yes, he's got to slow down the chaos.
And he could easily do that.
He could, but man, if you think Meerschaert is a good dog at those odds, you got to think Tercios is a good one at those odds as well.
All right.
Carolina against Denise Gomez. Gomez is minus 500. Carolina is plus 385. I did not watch film on this.
Well, I'll tell you, Denise is fun to watch.
I know I've seen her before. I just don't remember all of these people.
Nah, she's nasty. If you think about okay, I don't want to watch the women's fights. They suck, all this stuff. Denise is a good watch because she looks like a dude and she fights like a dude. And let me pull up her record. Have you been getting these political calls nonstop?
Oh, dude, I am getting so much politics, text, calls, emails, planes going overhead, smoke signals. It is nuts. I cannot wait for the election to be over with so I don't have to hear about this for a while. Oh my gosh.
This Denise has some really, really good wins. So you're not a WMMA enjoyer like I am, but she beat Andressa Romero early 2021. That's a really good win in hindsight. That girl is actually pretty solid, has come a long way. She beat Milana Dudieva, who Dudieva is really, really good. Skill for skill, really nice. And Dudieva was whooping her, and she came back and put her out. She beat Hayani Amanda, who's in the UFC now. She lost to Loma Lumbukmi, who's awesome. She beat Bruna Brazil, made her look like a can, killed her. And then she beat Yasmin Hauergui, whatever. Great win. And then she lost to Angela Hill, and then she beat Eduardo Mora. I love Carolina. She's improved a lot since she got on the ATT water, and she's looking really good. But she's super old, and she's not very physical. And this girl throws with hate in her heart. And honestly, if Carolina's going to win, she's going to have to employ a 15-minute grappling game plan the entire time. And I just don't know that that's going to happen. Denise is man, she throws with vitriol. Even her grappling has looked so much better. I mean, look what she did counter grappling Eduardo Mora in the last fight. And that girl is a crazy top pressure jiu-jitsu girl with decent wrestling. Denise, I think, is going to smoke Carolina here.
All right. Enough said. Cody Garbrandt, Miles Johns. Cody's plus 125. Miles is minus 145. I like Cody here for the upset.
Okay, wait. Before you get into that, I have a question. Right. And I know you always say a lot of this stuff doesn't matter, but at some point I feel like it does. You saw Cody's new tattoo?
No.
He tattooed a sword on his face here, goes through his eyelid, and then the bottom of it comes out.
Damn.
Yeah. And so I'm looking at that tattoo and I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, that's not normal.
That's not normal. And this is going to be the first fight that he has that for. And he's already chinny and he's already had a career and all this stuff. Miles is on the upward trajectory and he's kind of on the downward trajectory. He only beat a Brian Kelleher, right, who was already old and broken. And then I see the face tattoo and I'm thinking to myself, what is going on here? So does that change anything for you? Seems like a cry for help in a way.
That stuff is weird. I don't get people, certainly not a psychologist, but that stuff is...
It's something. Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it is. That's very strange.
Let me see if I can find it. You keep talking. I'll see if I can find it.
So the reason why I like this as a matchup wise is Miles likes to mix his wrestling, and I don't think he's going to be able to wrestle Cody and win. Damn, that's wild.
That's a decision.
That's
a
decision. And he's not going to control him and jiu-jitsu him the way that Figgy did, right? So now you got to go, does he knock him out? And he is super chinny. Don't get me wrong, super chinny. But Miles just throws that big overhand. So it's not like there's like you've got to look out for 100 things and he clips you and go. I mean, it's the overhand. So the overhand and the wrestling, I don't think he's going to out wrestle Cody. I could actually see Cody out wrestling him and putting together a wrestling heavy game plan early and winning some rounds. And then kind of, was it Trevin Giles that he kind of coasted round 3?
Yeah.
I could actually see that. I could see him picking him apart and then winning the wrestling battle. I think for Johns to win this, he's got to land that big overhand right.
Trevin Jones, sorry, just for the viewers.
Yeah. So I think Miles needs to win with the overhand. And if there was like, hey man, he could knock him out with every which way, this and this and that. All right, let's go Miles. But Miles will fade a little bit too. He's not a world beater in terms of cardio, in terms of control on the ground. He mixes stuff well, and he does have a good overhand. But I think he's got to put Cody away, which, again, a lot of people have. But Cody knows that his chin isn't great right now. He still is fast. He still can wrestle. He still can defensively wrestle. Whoa, that was like a weird noise.
Someone's heading to the polls for Trump.
Yeah, I thought so. We both looked at each other. There was a noise outside. You probably can't hear it. And then I think it was just a motorcycle, but it was just like, damn, like what the hell? I looked at you. I was like, shit, do we have to?
We got to duck.
Yeah, we got to go. Yeah, I like Cody here for the upset. Yeah.
I don't think you give Miles enough credit. I think the fighter that he used to be was close his eyes, duck, big overhand. That's it. But honestly, the win against Cody Gibson was really, really impressive to me, especially how good Cody looked. I know Cody is a really good fighter. And he out-cardioed him, out-volumed him, and out-dogged him that whole fight. And Cody used to wrestle in college too, right? I know that, much is made of Garbrandt's wrestling and state champion and Golden Gloves boxing and all this stuff. I just think when the going gets tough, that Cody's tends to fold. And I know he's fought so much higher level, but that chin is a big liability. And let me see. When was the one time we did see him wrestle?
Trevin Jones.
But he also did it against Rob Font too.
Yes.
And then he lost.
Yep.
I think that MMA has just come such a long way. If he's going to try to wrestle Miles is going to stand back up because Cody's jiu-jitsu is not very good.
No, his control is not great.
No. And so Miles is going to stand back up. And then Cody, just in that fight too, he slowed down a lot. And Miles, whatever cocktail he's on, he's been getting increased cardio time after time after time. I think Miles is in a good spot here. I like Miles. I think he will be able to take Cody down if he wants to, but I don't know if he's going to need to. I think Cody's going to do a lot of stuff, a lot of dancing, and a lot of movements on the outside while Miles walks him down and pressures him, tags him, and eventually gets him.
My issue with Miles is that he's so right hand high guard, left hand out, just moving, that he doesn't put enough out there to blind anybody for that overhand to come.
He's listed at 5'7". Do you believe that?
Look, if you're listed at 5'7", he's 5'7".
I've been next to him before. He seems like 5'4". I don't know. He seems real small. Yeah. Cody looks 5'7" for sure.
Yeah, Cody. Yep. So, yeah, man. Cody. How old is Cody now? Do we know?
Is he 35 or something?
Is he that old? Dang.
Maybe he's younger.
It's like a dinosaur.
He's 33. That's an old 33.
That's an old 33. Man, I still think he has it in him. I think he's getting smarter, and I think he's getting more boring, but I think that's saving his career. I think he's going the Orlovsky route, where Orlovsky at one point realized that he is getting knocked out and cannot exchange in the firefights, and he wins fights how he can win fights, and makes it kind of boring. So I see Garbrandt making this a little boring.
Can you wait? Well, first of all, he was boring against Trevin Jones, who does nothing. Trevin Jones is like hallmark is like sitting back and doing absolutely nothing. and then catching people with one random hook. That's it. That's Trevin Jones' whole game. So, and even that, he made it somewhat close. Can you wait for Figueiredo and Peter Yan?
Oh my gosh.
That's a fight.
Can we watch that tomorrow?
I hope so. That's a great fight.
Now, speaking of fights we can't wait for, let's talk about a fight I'm not looking forward to, is John Jones and Stipe. I have just zero interest in that fight.
I thought it was this weekend for some reason.
I actually did too before I looked at the card. And I was like, oh.
Is it next week?
Yeah, it's next week. I just don't care about these two guys winning. I actually look, I love that Jones came back, went to heavyweight, won the belt. Like, he's old now too. Stipe is old. These guys are just old. And even though I think they'll probably both retire after this, kind of no matter what.
I mean, Stipe had been gone for 3 years? That's crazy he's even coming back.
I can't even fathom. I actually was watching interviews of him, and he's all like shaven and like strange looking. Like, who is this guy? He doesn't even look like Stipe. I just have zero interest in this fight whatsoever because I feel like it doesn't matter who wins. They're going to both retire, and Tom Aspinall is going to come in and fight for the title after that anyway.
Aspinall smokes both of them. That's
yeah,
crazy.
I think you're right these days. So anyway, I don't really care about it. But we have a main event. Should I try and put this on for me? Will this even?
Uh-oh. Where did you get this?
It's actually Enzo's.
Okay, his team is the Buccaneers?
Well, no, this isn't a real helmet.
Oh,
no,
okay,
this is just a play. If you play in this, you die. I look like I'm a special needs kid.
Can we use this for the thumbnail?
I think I'm going to have to. I'm going to try to. Man, so come join us on the Discord.
Ooh, bare knuckle week again. Last week was a little tough. It was a UK card, and they usually make the UK cards very competitive.
Aren't they doing bare knuckle in Thailand this week?
Nope, it's in
no, Karate Combat's in Thailand.
Karate Combat. This week is this is old school feels. Like I remember before I made the million, every week I would be, hitting on bare knuckle, and we're messaging people, we're doing all this stuff. And then bare knuckle somewhere after that, it went pretty mainstream. Right now we got Luke Rockhold and Mike Perry and all these like big names are joining bare knuckle. This card this weekend is back in Montana. So we have all the local Montana flavor. People forget the roots of bare knuckle, like Montana events every freaking week because it's the only one who would sanction them on the Indian reservation. And you're getting literal drug addicts fighting guys that had like a few pro fights. It was great. And so this week's card is all the same drug addicts that we used to know and love. They're back. It's in Montana, the local flavor. This feels like an old school card. And we killed old school cards. We made $1 million on an old school card. So come join the Discord. And we have LFA Phoenix. So we have all the insides. I'll tell you who's going to win and who's going to lose from our team. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we have LFA this week. We have bare knuckle, Montana. We have the UFC. There's like a lot of good stuff this week. So last week was a little tough. This week's going to be great.
All right, main event time. I got to make this quick because this helmet is actually making my head hurt.
Oh, you're going to do the whole...
I'm going to do the whole thing with this. Why not?
Well, good thing this will be a quick breakdown.
Yeah, quick. Prates?
Done. All right, Prates is going to win. Now, it's just, does he knock him out? Does he submit him? Does he...
I don't think he's going to submit Neil. I think that's a hard...
I don't think so.
...task. My only worry is that Prates can be pushed back. We saw that with the Radke fight. Neil is just one of those guys who's hard to finish because he won't engage. We saw it with Ian Gary where he's like, I'll stay on my back and lay here and not engage and just eat it. Prates needs to not stay on the cage because if he does, Neil can drag people down and do stuff. And man, we saw what he did with Malat. Now Malat's cardio, oddly enough, he fades out hard and does some dumb stuff.
Any fight that was bad last weekend.
That was crazy. And Prates somehow, who smokes, has better cardio than Malat.
Because he's calm. He just doesn't give a shit.
That's it. A lot of it is just being calm. But I like Prates here. I think he will find a way to get the TKO.
Yeah, I do too. Ian Gary beat the shit out of him, and Ian Gary doesn't have a finishing bone in his body. You're giving Prates, who has a killer instinct that literally tries to just decapitate everybody, 5 rounds to beat up a punching. Neil Magny's just been a punching bag every fight that he's had as of late. Yep. Does he have grappling success? Maybe. One thing I do like about Prates' game is that his jiu-jitsu is really clever. He uses a lot of throws up a lot of submissions and it kind of uses it to stand. He's tricky. He's gonna finish.
He's gonna find it. Yep.
Yep.
All right, that's it. Go vote.